Hey everybody, not that anybody's watching yet because nobody watches my stream. Welcome. We're going to be talking about random stuff. We have to do the intro. So I'm going to say, I'm the Geeky Amreeki, and you'll say your name or whatever, and then I'll say, and this is Distant Socializing.
Okay.
Why are you fucking up my flow, man? I'm the Geeky Amreeki.
And I'm Tareq Aleskar.
And this is Distant Socializing. Tell everybody who you are.
Oh, that's the hardest question you can ever ask a person.
Okay, what you do, let's say that.
Okay. Basically, I'm a filmmaker in Kuwait. I dabble in Twitch for fun and used to create like mini documentaries about people.
Mm-hmm.
Then I stopped. Then I decided to do a podcast instead, where I bring them over to my place. But then Corona happened, so the plan is like on hold.
Yeah.
So then I started streaming on Twitch because, like, I have all this equipment, but I can't go out and do anything with it.
Yeah.
So like my cameras are being used for Zoom meetings.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I need another use for my cameras. So I'm like, I like to play video games. I never had the time to play video games. So I'm like, let's try streaming on Twitch. So I had a few streams. It was really fun. Like, it's the most fun you can ever have online. And like when people join and they're actually watching and like talking with you, it's even more fun.
Yeah, that's definitely cool.
When they are watching and you like have viewers, but they're silent, you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, it's cool that they're at least watching, but it's definitely nice when they're talking. I mean, one of the things that a lot of Twitch streamers don't have is that ability to just like flow and speak freely and just like you're having a conversation while you're playing the game, even if nobody's asking questions.
Yeah, like to me, that's the hardest part. Like talking when you're not talking to someone. Yeah. You know, it's like even if I have like a script or like I prepared some talking points beforehand, you run out really fast.
Oh,
you know, because and like when I'm like actively engaged in the game, I just stay quiet and I'm like,
I'm sure you saw some of my Let's Plays I tend to be pretty good at talking, you know, whether it be to myself or the audience or whatever. I don't know. I guess for me, it just comes naturally kind of because I'm always hosting things, I'm emceeing. And so I never really had a hard time with that part. But the thing is, end of that game was really intense. So that was a little bit hard for me to talk during that point. So I didn't say a lot, but I said some things, you know, because the ending of that game is really messed up. And I thought it was going one way. So I was getting angry. And then I started to get sad. I cried a little bit and stuff because I was like, man, this is bullshit. Why would they make the player do this, you know, after having you do all this stuff? But it ended up going the way that I wanted, which, you know, was nice. It was a good misdirect. But yeah, man, for me,
nice.
I don't know. I guess I talk to myself all the time anyway, which is actually a sign of genius. But it's just like with the show, you know, with the Geeky Amreeki show. You know, if you watch my first bunch of reviews, the content was pretty good, but my flow wasn't quite there because I was more worried about like I got to hit every point and I got to say this and do this. I mean, I wasn't trying to be all like academic like a lot of critics and stuff will do, because to me, if you're too well written or whimsical about what you have to say, then you just don't connect with people as well. It feels phony to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's something you're good at, like when you've done videos and unboxing and you know, I've seen all the different stuff you've done. I never feel like you're putting on a show. You're just doing you. And I think that's why I kind of dig what you do, you know?
Well, like at first it was hard because like I'm used to being behind the camera asking people questions.
Yeah.
Okay. And then like when I'm recording myself, it's like I'm not used to talk to a camera. So now with repetition, it became easier. But at the same time, like when I'm shooting myself in the back in my head, I'm like, did I set the ISO correctly? Is it on the right settings? You know, I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the lights on top of me. I'm like, are they in the right place? Should I move it to the left or right? And like when you're thinking about these things and like talking, it messes up your flow a bit,
Mm-hmm.
because like I see flaws that regular people don't see.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I
It's like
believe.
when my friend send me a video, I'm like, oh, this part he missed the focus on this part.
Yeah,
You know, I'm like, he should have lacked focused instead of using autofocus because it was hunting. It's
yeah.
distracting. Like people don't see this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You try to be like the best it can be.
Yeah.
But with time, you learn to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Like regular people won't notice these things,
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm like the content I'm making is like very basic tutorial content on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like for people who are just picking up a camera and wanting to learn.
Yeah.
It's not for people who already know how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You
for
know,
me,
yeah.
I'm the same way. Like I make it for everybody to watch, but the actual edit and the sound and everything else. But yeah, so my standard is like what you were saying is what will other filmmakers notice? Because I have so many filmmaker friends like you and George and a bunch that are here. That again, like you said, that was one of the biggest issues. Like, so I would make sure everything. Now I just like look at my phone and I set everything to record and stuff on my phone via like the Wi-Fi app or whatever when I'm doing my episodes. With this, I said, screw it, because however it comes out is however it comes out, because I'm basically at the mercy of my ISP, which is a redo, which sucks so bad. My stream fails all the time. The encoding will fail after a little bit because like 65% of my frames are dropping. And so it's like I just kind of gave up and just like, man, if it comes out great, cool. If it doesn't, at least I'm recording it and I can edit it and put it up on YouTube later.
Like they don't have fiber over there.
They do, but even I have friends who are Twitch streamers here, like Bulhamis. He's a Destiny 2 streamer, and then there's Agent 6075. He's a Fortnite and Minecraft. Like those kind of games, the kids games that everybody likes to watch. And they both, even though they have like fiber and everything, they still run into issues sometimes too. But me, myself, no, I don't have fiber on them. I'm running off of like a MiFi, and I'm in this like huge concrete villa, so the signal doesn't get through the walls very good. Even though I'm in the same room as the MiFi is right by the window, so it can get the most signal that it can. But here, let me look at my little OBS and see what I'm getting right now. So I'm dropping 65.8% of my frames, and I'm streaming. It's fluctuating between 300 kbps and 1500, which is trash, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Eventually, I'll get fiber and stuff, and it'll be much better. Because the minimum recommended is 3.5 megabytes for upload to Twitch or YouTube or whatever. And I'm at like a quarter of that. So
what I don't like about Twitch is like if you're not an affiliate, you don't get transcoding options.
Yeah.
It's like I stream at 1280 by 720, so like people can actually watch it.
Yeah, same here.
But if I stream at 1080 and 60 frames per second, they don't get transcoding option and nobody can see the stream.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you expect people to like follow somebody that they can't even watch?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of my issues. The first month, which was the month before last, right? In 3 weeks, I did like 60 hours of streaming, like every single night, at least 2 hours, most of the time 4 hours. I did like 6 different games, so it's a nice variety, because I'm not one of those who's like, what is the thing that everybody is playing right now? That's what I want to stream. Oh, everybody likes Fortnite. I want to stream Fortnite. Or Valorant's the hot stuff. Let me play Valorant. Like, Yeah, I play what I feel like playing at that time because I figure people aren't watching necessarily just for the game. They're watching to see you, what you have to say, what you're playing, and everything else. But even with 60 hours and a good variety of games, I did some like tier lists for fun, like fast food and Coke, not like the kind you
Mhm.
sniff, the kind you drink, like the different sodas and everything. So I did a good variety, and I got like 11 followers. That was it because the stream was always malfunctioning and going bad. At one point, I had like 3 people chatting to me while I was playing Minecraft Dungeons or whatever. And that was so exciting to me. I was like, oh, 3 people are talking to me. They're watching. They're asking questions. You know what I mean? And that was like the best stream that I had. And after that, the internet kind of just went little by little. So like yours always have looked pretty good on my end. Like when you were playing, was it Dark Souls or one of the Souls-like games? I can't remember. They all look the same to me.
Ghost of Tsushima, like the last one was Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay. No, the one before that, I think it was Neo.
Oh yeah, I did Neo and Final Fantasy,
Yeah, I
the
remember.
remake. Oh,
Uh,
okay, that's when I died like 60 times to the
yeah, you
boss.
were super into that one. This was you for like a lot of the stream. Like,
Yeah.
I was I was like, talk, dude. Let me hear something.
No, and like the issue was like when I changed to the weapon that I used, the Neo one,
Mhm.
I killed him the first try.
Yeah,
So basically I wasn't familiar with the weapon I was using.
yeah.
So, and like when I switched, I got him first time. I'm like, oh, I should
Yeah.
have used this weapon from the beginning.
One of my
Instead of
issues.
yeah. And like the problem was in that stream I had like 20 viewers
Mm,
and they just
nice.
kept watching me die over and over and over.
Yeah, I think anybody watching Souls like knows that's what they're gonna get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless they're watching one of these savants that plays like on the rock band guitar.
Mhm.
I don't
Oh,
understand how that's even possible.
those people like piss me off so much.
Yeah,
It's like I saw one. There was this girl who uses a Dance Revolution
yeah,
thing, and she like beats the boss that I die to all the time.
yeah. With
And
their
she's like
feet.
just using her legs.
Yeah, the first one I played, I didn't know anything about Souls like, and I got Bloodborne. I'm like, oh, this looks
Hmm.
cool, gothic horror. This is gonna be awesome. And I'm playing and I'm playing and I'm going through. I'm like, where's the checkpoint? Where's the levels? Where's like, I didn't know what was going on. And then I died and I was like back at the beginning. I was like, what in the hell just happened? So then I called my friend up. I'm like, bro, you recommended this game. What is this? He's like, it's a Souls like. I'm like, what does that mean?
Mhm. لا بس يعني like to me souls like games ruin your experience with other games like if you get into them you know
Yeah,
because there is risk and reward
yeah, of course.
like most games you don't feel like the reward is worth the risk.
Hmm.
Games need to be because like old school games were hard
Yeah, like
like
Mega Man and
and
stuff.
yeah and like you didn't have like a way to save back then.
Yeah,
So like when you play the game from start to finish, you actually need to play it from start to finish.
yeah,
Game over means you start from level one.
yeah. And if you were lucky, you had something like Tyson's Punch Out, which after you beat the level, it gave you a code that you could put in to start where you left
Mhm.
off, like on the next fight or whatever. But yeah, most of the time, um, like if you look at Contra, everybody did the 30 lives code or whatever, the Konami code. And I used to
Mhm.
do that, but then I was like, you know what? I want to see if I can do it with just 3 lives. And I was able to, which was cool. But most of my friends couldn't do that. And then like Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, Metroid, I could beat all of those. So when I look at these games now where you have like quick saves and all that kind of stuff, and there are some that I've played where like Bungie a long time ago made this game called Oni. And it was this really cool like anime cyberpunk thing. and the save system checkpoint thing on there was horrible. It was like trash. It was one of the only complaints that I had. But it wasn't because like, oh, I'm used to easier things. It was just like really weird and awkward. Kind of like Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2 had that checkpoint system where if you like failed, you had to start all the way back at your hut across the map. And I could see like having to start the whole mission over, but not having to go all the way back to the other side of like the game world. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
when
well,
you
Bloodborne, they have like checkpoints,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
yeah. I ended up
like
figuring
the
out all the
bonfire
stuff
or
out.
like the moon lantern. In
Yeah, yeah,
Bloodborne, I think it's the moon lantern. Yeah, I think like the game forces you to have situational awareness,
oh yeah, big time.
and
Mm-hmm.
like you need to be aggressive with the Souls-like games. Like, like some people would like to cheese, and like defend mostly, but like it rewards you with aggression, especially
Yeah,
Bloodborne,
yeah, of course.
because like
Like if you
if you
get
get
hit,
hit, you get health back.
yeah, yeah,
If you attack,
yeah.
you have like a certain time frame to attack and get most of your health back. So
Mm-hmm.
like the good thing about Bloodborne is like after you play it and go back to playing Souls, Dark Souls or Demon Souls or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it forces you to like be more aggressive, and
Yeah.
then you get more enjoyment out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I can have a big shield and walk and like win,
Mm-hmm.
but yani, what's the fun in that? I'm just like being afraid the whole game.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You know?
after it's kind of true what you're saying because after that, a lot of the games where I used to play as certain character types, I switched over a lot. So now I'm usually support where I have to like get up in there and help the other players or tank. So yeah, so like I just started Destiny 2 like 4 or 5 days ago, and I'm playing as a Titan. There's so much to that game; it's so complicated, so many missions and all this stuff, and sometimes they don't word things very well. So you have to like look it up, like what does this mean? And I do like it. The gunplay on that game is like my favorite gunplay probably ever now. It's just so
Mhm.
aggressive, and the vibrations in the controller plus those cross saves. So like I can play it on Xbox, and if somebody like if my friend Carl, who's in Panama right now, is like, hey man, I want to play, and he's playing on the PC, I can just jump over and everything is exactly where I left it, which I think is really cool. Like cross play and cross saves, I think if a game has it, it definitely helps a lot. It kind of puts it over the top for me.
I think we're going to see more of that going forward. Developers want their games to be played as much as possible,
Yeah,
especially now because they have like they create a game with minimal effort and just add microtransactions to it and it makes them a shitload of money.
yeah.
You
Live
know,
services.
it's
Yeah,
like, and I can't blame them because they're a business at the end of the day.
yeah,
And like they answer to shareholders. If you look at like the last 10 or last 15 years, like the number of original IPs we had were very few.
yeah, yeah. It went way down.
It's yeah, it's like they just want to say, okay, this works, let's make another one,
Yeah,
and let's make another. Like Assassin's Creed, it's the same story, just different characters, different
yeah.
setting.
Every
You were
Ubisoft
in
game now,
yeah, like
they're all
you
like
first
clones
you
of
were in
one
Rome.
another.
Yeah, so like it's fun, but like open world games to me get too repetitive.
Yes, they do.
Like the also the quest, like make quests that actually matter. Don't just make me run from one end of the map to the other end of the map.
Like Witcher 3 or Cyberpunk.
Yeah, like Witcher 3 was fun because like I think like no other game would be as good as Witcher 3 story wise
Not yet.
because like the world it was set in is very rich with lore,
Yeah.
and like even the side quests they
Hmm.
made sense within the game,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
you
saying.
know.
Like, but most devs aren't going to put that kind of work in, especially ones that are doing like live services. Like right now, I'm having fun with Destiny. I think it's really cool. I like the gunplay,
Mhm.
but I know it's definitely going to get repetitive. It's going to turn into a grind fest. So I don't know how long I'm going to last on it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Like these games like are fun until you reach endgame.
Yes.
You know, because like
Yeah.
endgame, like basically there's nothing else to do except like wait every week to fight a monster and hope that something you want drops. Like this is my issue with like all these games out
Mhm.
is like especially MMORPGs.
Yeah.
Like it's fun till you reach endgame,
Yeah.
you know, and like I play FF14, then I stopped playing FF14. Okay. The issue is like at endgame, I need 7 other players.
Yeah.
Like in total, we're 8.
Hmm.
And I need them to play on my time zone. Okay. Otherwise, I need to stay up all night.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't do that. I have a job. Have obligations. You
Yeah.
know, so like if I don't find 7 other people, I'm not going to enjoy Endgame.
Yeah. Good luck on finding 7 people.
Yeah, like okay, we can like I can join with randoms, but yani,
It's frustrating, man.
it's frustrating and like you join all these like toxic people who
Yeah.
expect to be carried,
Hmm.
you know.
Or they leave you in the
Yani,
dust because they've been playing that game forever. Oh,
like
it's
at
not.
least with Destiny, you need 2 more. I think it's 3.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah,
even then, man,
uh,
like, it's like you're saying. I've done Anthem. I've done what's the one with the 10-0, the Space Ninjas? Warframe. Did Warframe.
mm,
I did the Division 2. Like every one of these type of games that everybody was raving about, I played them, and they're fun for a while. But then it turns into the same thing over and over, and I'm just like, fuck this, man. I don't want to play this anymore. But then when I play something like The Last of Us 2, all these people were like, oh man, it's so long, and they padded out the content. And no, they didn't. Like the story makes sense, and it's only like 20,
mhm.
25 hours long. And from start to
Oh, that's
finish,
nothing.
yeah. And from start to finish, you're like very interested. There's a lot of, things that happen, and it's very mature. It's for grown-ups, and it keeps your attention. And these are the same people though that will play like Warframe or Destiny or the Division for like hundreds and hundreds of hours where they're just repeating the same thing. And then they're like, oh, the single player campaign for The Last of Us 2 or for God of War, it's so long, bro. It's like 15 or 20 hours. Like, dude, what are you talking about?
I started playing Last of Us, the first one.
Yeah.
You know, I think I'm halfway to the end,
Yeah.
and I already downloaded 2. But
Yeah. I
Ghost of
think you
Tsushima
asked
came
me,
out.
like, should you get it? And I'm like,
Yeah,
make sure you play part 1 first. Mm.
yeah. So I'm going to finish Ghost of Tsushima like maybe today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Uh, so my plan is like I want to see what like The Last of Us. What are people talking about?
Yeah.
I think like the first one, like the story is good. Controls are like dated,
Yeah.
so
I mean,
hopefully it gets fixed in 2. You
yeah,
know.
they've definitely updated it some. They've improved things. Some of the things, like, even though it's an improvement, it kind of gives you less stakes in the game as far as the combat goes. But
Mhm.
that's only for the first half of the game. The second half of the game is like completely different. Um, but yeah, the gameplay for The Last of Us was always like, it's pretty good. If you like stealth and you like
Yeah.
crafting and scavenging, it's, and again, a lot of these people who come, oh man, you do have to do so much scavenging and crafting and this and that. I'm like, you play like 6 hours a day on these live services games just so you can make like one piece of armor. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I think like the gamers like they changed. Like our generation is a different kind of gamer than the new generation. You
Yeah,
know, like we're used to stuff being hard. We're used to like difficulties in games.
yeah, yeah,
But like these new games, oh, I get it. They want it to be accessible to everyone, so like everyone can join in the fun. But at the same time, like this is why I like Souls games.
I want a
First time,
difficulty setting.
like okay, let's talk about game journalists. I don't think they actually play the game. You know, I think like they play like
They play a
for
little
like
bit of it, enough to get
yes. No, I don't
what they
think they
think
play
of
it to
it.
completion.
No,
No,
they almost never.
yeah.
And now they're doing reviews in progress, so they can get the content out there as fast
Mhm.
as they can. So that's the thing about my reviews. They'll come out like a week, 2 weeks later than everybody else's. One, because I didn't get an
Yeah,
advance copy, but two, because I actually finished the whole game.
yeah, but like the press, they get advanced copies, so they
Yeah,
have enough time to finish the game for a review. I trust like people on YouTube and Twitch more than like
that
publications.
IGN, GameSpot.
Yeah, because like back then, they were the only things we had. You
Yeah.
know, like GameSpot and all of this. But like right now, uh, I really doubt that the people who work there actually play games.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah,
they just
they.
like look the part, or they like when they're doing like a video, they're reading from a teleprompter,
Oh yeah, a lot of the
and
hosts
and they just put a pretty face. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, like
you
my
know.
show.
So, mhm.
No, I know what you're
But
saying.
like it works. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't
Yeah.
necessarily, if somebody's hosting like the news update, like the lady that does the news update, I think she's normal looking, she's average, whatever. I'm not trying to take anything away from her, but people will be like, oh man, she's looking at the teleprompter way too high, but she's still hot, so it's okay. And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's up to you. It's your taste or whatever. But as long as they can read the thing and they sound natural, I'm fine with it. Now, if they're doing a
Mhm.
game review, it better be somebody who actually played the game and knows what they're talking about. Especially when you look at like IGN or GameSpot, a lot of times they'll put their foot in their mouth. Like with the Division 2, right? I played the whole game. I got to the end game and they talked about, oh, the end game is so rewarding and you get this and you get that, and you can do this, and it's like 8 hours of end game. And after you clear out the tusks, the black tusk or whatever they were called, um, they'll come back and they're even tougher. Like I finished Endgame, I beat the black tusk part, and they're supposed to come back. They didn't come back. It like glitched out or whatever.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? Where do I go from here? So I'm like, how many of these people actually did get to Endgame and played past the first part of Endgame and everything else? I only saw like one or two other reviews who actually mentioned that as well. But everybody else is like, Endgame is one of the best and this and that. I'm like, bro, you didn't play that thing, or you didn't at least finish it. But a lot of them will say, I only played 6 hours or 10 hours, or for like the bigger stuff. And we'll tell you more of what we think in the future. Like, I mean, if that's how you want to do it, fine. At least they're being honest about it. But most, they're not. They just do the review, and you can tell when they didn't. Like Clean Prince, I think Clean Prince Gaming. I used to watch him when he first started, and then he started putting out like 2 or 3 videos a week. And I would watch these videos, and a lot of them they'd be full of stuff that was wrong. Like he did one of Rainbow Six Siege, and I'd only been playing Rainbow Six Siege for like a week. But even I was like, what is he talking about? That's not how it works. Like, it's not what they do. And then all these people are like, dude, did you even play the game? Or you just like, and it turns out he wasn't. He was just like getting the content. And then he would download people's gameplay footage. And then he would do like, not footage, but like in editing in Final Cut or Premiere or whatever, he would cover parts or he'd like replace it with his thing. So he got busted, you know what I mean? But he still has like
Yeah.
700,000 subscribers or whatever. I definitely like talking about gaming, but I want to ask you a few things about you and the filmmaking and that kind of stuff.
All right.
Um,
Sure.
so Urban Kuwait Films is what?
Oh, I actually had a copywriter sit down with me and like create a write up. Like it's there on my website.
Yeah.
Okay, but like this was when I was trying to like make it into a business, which I don't want right now.
Yeah.
Uh, Let's see what she wrote, and then let's see. Let me tell you what it
Ah,
actually is.
okay.
Okay, Urban Kuwait is a one-stop shop for eye-catching visual content. Our priority is to represent brands in their best light, providing a wide range of services suited to a number of platforms and channels. Uh, okay,
That second
so
part, no. Like the first part, I agree with. Like I definitely like the way you shoot and the way you edit. Most of the
Mhm.
time, there was one video you did, and I had a seizure while I was watching it, but uh, that was the only.
yeah.
It was the poetry one, I think. I think Dose was dancing, and it was like camera, 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 camera. I was like,
Oh,
Jesus.
la la la. You know why?
It was
You know,
experimental. I get that, but
no. Like the editing, like I had two cameras.
uh,
Okay, and like these girls were wearing the leggings,
uh,
you know, and they're sheer.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like in real life, you don't see it, but in the cameras,
See
like you see
everything.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so like every time one of them bends over, I just switch to the other camera.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You
Jeez.
know, because like, and I actually like darkened the shadows, so
Yeah, it popped up the
you know
contrast
that's
and
why it
stuff.
had like these weird cuts. Like
Ah,
every time one of them like bends over, you know, I switch to
yeah,
the other camera,
yeah, yeah.
and vice versa.
But like
You know.
you, myself, and George, we all have different style, but we have a similar aesthetic. Like we all go for clean images, don't put a
Mhm.
ton of filters and like effects that are popular now and that kind of stuff. Because my philosophy, and I know yours is probably the same way, is if you put all of this crap on there on top of your footage, which already should look great if you're doing the right thing, you're just dating whatever it is that you're making, right? So for me, like I just like to keep it clean, whether it's color or black and white. It depends on what my subject
Mhm.
is. But yeah, you won't see a lot of like, effects and flashy stuff. Maybe sometimes if the client wants it, like Red Bull likes light leaks and things like that.
Yeah.
So I might put some of that stuff in there. And I've done a few like fashion and modeling and perfume things the past few months, and they like some of that stuff. So fine. But if it's
Yeah,
my own
like
thing, if it's my own thing, that ain't happening.
transitions. I never use transitions. It's just a cut.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like I downloaded the transition pack and I'm playing around with it. You know,
Mhm.
but like all my videos, they're just cuts. You know, uh,
Yeah.
and like I cut to the music.
Yep.
You know, like I used to like listen to the music and put markers in manually.
Yeah.
Then I found a tool that does it automatically. It finds the beats and it shows you where
Oh,
the
really?
cuts are. Yeah, it's called Beat Edit.
Huh.
I think it's for Premiere.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. So I'm like, okay, now this is like much easier and much faster. Like,
Yeah.
because when I first started Urban Kuwait, it was me and okay, I used to be a blogger back in the days, like in 2006.
Hmm.
Okay, then I stopped. Then I decided to go back to blogging, like in 2011. So I told my friends, and they're like, "Oh, we want to join you." So I'm like, I can't use the old name because the old name was like very personal to me.
Mm.
So then we're like sitting in a shisha place smoking, and they're like, "We want something that's hip, that's urban." You know, so we're like, let's Urban Kuwait. So
Yeah.
we got the name. We started the blog. Then like they wrote around 3 articles in total. I wrote 78. Then I stopped. When Instagram video became a thing,
Hmm.
I bought me a camera. I'm like, hey, I can make money out of this. Like, I know
Hmm.
how to shoot videos,
Yeah.
you know? So what I did was like, I got me a shotgun mic, took my camera, which was Panasonic GH4.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so I went to these like places where you have booths,
Hmm.
you It's like a market or something.
Yeah.
So I told my friend, make an interview with this guy. I stood far away. I just wanted to see how long it picks up audio.
Yeah.
You know, like I was sitting 2 meters back, and it actually picked up the audio, which I was surprised. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
damn! I released it on Instagram, and like people loved it. So I'm like, let's create videos like this.
Yeah.
So then I started like reaching out to people. I'm like, hey, listen, let's do a video. Go to
Yeah.
them, make a video. Like I ended up doing like 60 videos or something.
It was like right after I left, I think, is
Yeah,
when it
it was
started really
during.
popping off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because really,
That,
we're the only two people who ever covered like the underground, the art
yeah.
scene. Like I started in 2010. And I
Mhm.
started with like the underground sports, like paintball, BMX, b-boying, all that kind of stuff. And I started with the GH2, with the Russian hack and all that stuff. And then obviously, as time went on, I went to the GH3 and then the 4. And then I bounced. You had already started doing stuff, and I had noticed it, and I thought it was pretty good. And then when I left, like I said, you were already doing your thing, and when I left, there was a decent void there, and then you filled that because every time I would look, it was a new short doc. The scene in Kuwait, like especially after I left, it blew up because they had more venues, there were more things going on. It seemed like things got a little more relaxed when it comes to how society views the stuff and how the government looks at it. Because before that, like we had to do everything guerrilla. Like all those videos I did with Dose, like we'd film the scene and then
Yeah.
we'd like run the hell out of there because we don't want to get arrested. And so how has that been for you, like seeing that evolution?
I think it's a good thing and a bad thing because, like you said, like we used to shoot the underground. The issue now is like the underground doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Like everything became commercialized. Like people saw an opportunity, they went in and like they commercialized everything.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I stopped shooting events is because like most of these events that take place right now are ticketed events. And like before I used to support, they expect me to come in and shoot for free when they're getting paid for it. I'm like, no. Yeah, so that's why I like stopped doing events.
Yeah.
And like I stopped doing interviews because when I started, it was like bilingual. Then I found out that being bilingual on YouTube hurts you more than helps you.
Yeah.
So I decided like since I'm in Kuwait, might as well switch to Arabic because like I saw a study that said like social media users in the region only 5% use it in English.
It's one of the biggest social media followings
Yeah.
anywhere. Kuwait is.
So I'm like, I need to switch to Arabic. And at the same time, like, I figured out that, like, my videos depend on people. Like, during, like, the first 3 years of Urban Kuwait, like, I showed myself maybe, like, 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like, so people know who I am. So when I approach them, they don't think it's a weird guy who wants to take videos of them, especially
Yeah.
girls,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hey, let's take a video.
Yeah.
I have an A7S, it shoots in the dark. So
Yeah.
it doesn't get creepy,
Yeah.
so like now when I approach people, they know who I am,
Yeah.
but it's like at the beginning, it was like a bit tough.
Especially what we do or what we did, because I also backed off of it. I tried a bunch here to keep things going like I did in Kuwait. Because in Kuwait, I didn't just do video. Like I organized events and I pushed and I pushed and I pushed to make things happen. And, it helped a lot, like dance competitions, you name it. And when I got here, I tried the same thing and I did it for a while. But the urban culture scene for a filmmaker is the most one-sided shit that
Hmm.
anybody can imagine, right? Everybody loves for you to cover their stuff. They want you to do their event. They want you to make a video about their singing, their dancing, their art, their poetry, their whatever. And they're all for it, man, especially if you're doing it for free because it's like a passion project or you're trying to get your name out there or whatever. But as soon as they get a little money, like, oh, I'm not working with Tareq or Tim, man, because they've been doing my stuff all along. Now I got some money. I want to go with somebody like really baller. Especially, I want to see if I can get somebody from the outside because then it'll be special or whatever. Even with the free stuff, a lot of times because people take things for granted, they don't appreciate what they got for free. Like a lot of times, they won't even shout you out, or they'll
Hmm.
download the video from your YouTube. They'll upload it to their stuff, but they cut out your logo intro, and then they cut out your ending thing. You know, and they check out this I made. Like, when did you make that video? I'm pretty sure I made that video. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And for me, it was like I can only push so much. So I was like, "Fuck this, I'm done." Like I stopped doing the
Yeah.
dance stuff. I stopped doing the rap stuff because most of the good rappers actually left anyway. They went to like UAE or Canada or anywhere else because they're like, man, Qatar does not care about my art, my rap. The ones that stayed, there's still some good ones here, but they don't do anything unless it's for money. Even if I'm sitting here and I'm going to do the video for them or with them, they're like, how much are you going to pay me? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm doing the video, I'm filming and editing. Why would I pay you? It should be the other way around. I'm actually volunteering my services just so I
Hmm.
can do something to keep my editing skills sharp. Because, you know, what I'm doing is like green screen shows and talk shows and things like that. So why would I pay you?
When I switched, like, I'm like, if I'm going to do something, I need to get paid for it,
Mm.
you know. But at the same time, now, like, I'll feature people, but like now my content is includes me in the content, you know.
Yeah,
So like I create a show, and you're part of the show,
yeah.
you know, and like have a collaboration with Abdul Aziz Teddy. You know him? Yeah.
Mm,
So I think if you see him, you'll know him.
yeah.
I'll send you a video soon on YouTube.
Mm,
So we did something we call the Urban Teddy Jams because he's Teddy and I'm urban, you know. So like I shoot and like he's the host and perform as well. So we used to do it in my studio. Like I created a studio place. Uh, then we decided to do bands. Like when we decided to do bands, like that was way like it didn't work out as well as we hoped because like this like getting band members together to do something is like very tough.
yeah.
Like before, it was like just a guy and his guitar.
Yeah, like a mean or a fab or whatever.
Yeah, you know. So like that was easy. Like
Yeah.
getting bands together. Like it was supposed to be like the second season,
Mm,
and so it was supposed to be last September. Like rolling out, still not out. Like we only have one band, you know. So like that's the issue with the
yeah, for
like.
you, it's going to be the musicians. Like when I went back, like I said, I had like
Mhm.
7 dancers or whatever do videos with me all within like 3 days or 2 days. Crazy. Like
Yeah.
even one of them seasick. It was like 12:30 at night, and he had just finished a shift of being on the water 12 hours as a rescue firefighter guy. And man, it showed he was really tired. And plus, he was like, "Bro, you're not here anymore to push the scene, so we don't practice like we used to." He's like, "It's hard, you know." But then, like, I reached out to so many musicians, bands, and solo people, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm staying at the paintball field right now. I know you're busy and stuff. All you got to do is show up. I've got 2 cameras here with me. Sit on the park bench right in front of the water. It'll look great, and we'll call it like seaside concerts or something." every single person was like, "Oh no, I'm too busy. I got this going on. I can't make it." Da, 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 da. Oh man, it's too hot. I'm like, bro, we're talking like 7 or 8 in the evening. Like what's the big deal? So it's weird because it's like the opposite of here. Musicians, the bands are easy
Yeah.
here, and there you would think it'd be easier, especially with. And I think now it's harder because they have venues, they have the exposure they weren't having before, and that kind of thing. Where here, the musicians have tons of venues and exposure, and they get good money and stuff like that. There's a lot of bands. They're mostly cover bands. Where in Kuwait, you have all of these bands and solo artists doing all of this great original music. So that's one thing that's good about Kuwait that you don't have much of here.
We tell them no covers.
Yeah.
Like I'm featuring you as an artist. Like you're an
Be an
artist.
artist.
Do your originals. you know,
Yeah.
it's like if I wanted to hear Senorita, I'll sing it karaoke. You know what I'm saying? Like, like even like I think that's one of the issues that artists face is they're not sure about their own music. That's why they do covers mostly.
Yeah. Then they're probably not
You know,
doing what they should be doing.
you know how when people like open up the sink and put their head in and scream, like creating a song.
Yeah.
It's like my version of like letting everything out.
Yeah.
So I
That's how it should
understand
be.
that. Yani, yeah, I understand that sometimes like you fear what people are going to think, but at the same time, that's who you are as an artist.
Yeah. You can't worry about that kind of stuff. I don't give a fuck what people think, bro. You
Yeah.
cannot care what people think. Yeah, okay, you want people to enjoy whatever it is you're creating, whatever type of art it may be, or in my case, whatever YouTube show or interview or vlog, whatever. I want people to like it. But for me, my philosophy is I'm going to do what I do. People are going to really dig it or they're not. So my base is eventually going to build with people who like it. Same thing with my reviews, my film reviews and stuff. When I review, I'm not just looking at it like some fan or whatever, like most YouTubers are. Most YouTube film critics don't have any filmmaking experience or anything whatsoever. They're just like talking out their ass about, I like this movie because whatever. They grow to trust your reviews and they know, like, okay, I know what his taste is. If he says this, then I'll probably dig it too. So that's what it should be. You know what I mean? Like with your videos, you have your own style, and that drew me to watching them and everything. Even the ones that were in Arabic, like, of course, I don't know what the hell anybody's saying, but I watched them for the framing, the blocking, the editing, the music, that kind of stuff, because you did it well.
I think you went through this as well. It's like we were there for the community.
Oh yeah, but the
community
was
wasn't there
not.
for us.
Oh no.
Okay, so we had to transition from like creating the content to being the content.
Yeah.
I think for me that transition actually took 2 years. That's why I've been like gone from the scene for a long time.
Yeah.
And like part of it was like learning how to speak in front of the camera, and the other part was switching languages. Like I decided to switch into Arabic. So like it's a problem when you think in English and speak in Arabic. Okay, so I needed time to reacclimate myself into speaking Arabic.
Yeah.
Like I need to speak it in a way where it makes sense and people won't make fun of me.
Yeah, and that's definitely Kuwait, man. They're ruthless with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So like it took a while, but now like for me, it's all about having fun. Like I don't care about how many views I get, how many people see my content. To me, as long as I'm there having fun, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like I think people pay too much attention to views and like metrics and numbers.
Trend surfing, baby.
Yeah, like because it depends on your goal. Like, and you care about them if your plan is to monetize. بس يعني أنا my plan like from the beginning I'm like listen I'm here to have fun. I make money out of it. I make money out of it. And even then, like people say, if your job is what you love, you're going to enjoy it. No, like a job is a job,
Yeah.
regardless. Like even if it's something you love, okay, it's better than nothing. But at the end of the day, it's a job.
It
You know,
ends up
you have
being,
deadlines.
it's more
You
work.
know, and yeah, and like
Doing
at
what
the
you
end of
love
the
is
day,
way harder.
like doing what you love is like shooting what I love, you know. But like when I shoot an ad for a cookie place, okay, I love filming, but yani, is this what I love? No,
Yeah.
you know. But it's like I do it because okay, it pays money. At the end of the day, like these videos are basically just like beauty shot after beauty shot with nice music. Class, you're done.
Yeah.
You know. Uh, like I think what's missing is like incorporating the human element into these videos. Like
Yeah.
this is what's missing from like a lot of places. Like
Most people don't want that.
I think it's better to include the human element, but then because the next thing that I don't like is like when they call you up, you know, like I'm here to shoot.
Yeah.
You tell me the concept. I'm not here to make a concept for you.
Yeah. Here's
You
a
know,
bunch
if
of
you want me to
videos.
come up with the,
Copy this.
Mhm. You know, it's like if you wanna like want me to come up with a concept, you should pay me for that as well. In addition to what you're already paying me.
Yeah.
You know, like this is the distinction. It's like they think they call you up, you're going to do everything for them. I'm
Mhm.
like, no, no. This is how much I charge. This is how much I charge for this.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a difference between. That's why I always like a lot of times people say, "Oh, he's my cameraman," which oh my god, that's annoying, but whatever. Or he's my videographer. Like, okay, depending. Like if you're shooting weddings or whatever, then you're a wedding videographer, fine. But if you're doing something that you had to do like creative process, you filmed it, you edited it, you're doing the sound, you're doing that's filmmaking. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'm not like a snob. Like if you call me a videographer, filmmaker, whatever, fine. Of course, I prefer filmmaker because of what I do. Like you do short documentaries. You've done some feature stuff. I've done feature length, like the history of hip hop and guitar, or whatever. I'm not just a camera guy. If you want me to be just a camera guy that day, great. All I have to do is show up, film, give you the data, and I'm out. Sweet, you know what I mean? But rarely does that ever happen. You know?
Like people who just buy cameras are ruining it for us.
Don't you know that all you need is a camera and you're a filmmaker or a photographer,
Yeah,
especially in Kuwait.
and like what I hate is like you got people who like have friends who hype them up,
Oh yeah.
and their shit is garbage. You know, it's like they're like, wow, and I see it posted everywhere, and everyone's like mentioning them in their stories, you know, and the framing is wrong. You know, it's like a face and like the bottom left corner, and the rest is sky, and the people are like, wow, what?
It's like Mr. Robot.
You know, so I'm like, okay, and this is the other issue is like, but like the thing is like when people like try them once, they won't get back to them again. You
No,
know, because like we had this photographer who just shot on auto.
that's not a photographer.
You
I
know,
always people always say, "Oh, I'm a filmmaker. I'm a photographer," and I'll look. Always, I look to see what their thing is. You are not. Here's my. I'm talking directly to the audience. You're not a filmmaker. You're not a photographer until you know how to shoot on manual in all conditions, in the day, in the dark. So until you can do that, whether it's with a phone or a camera, or whatever, because phone has all the manual settings on its stuff too. So I'm not going to discount somebody because maybe all they have is a phone. If you know how to do your settings and you can take a good picture, you'll be able to do it with a phone or with a camera. So until you are doing that, don't call yourself that thing. You know what I mean? Say you're a hobbyist or whatever, fine. But don't say I'm a professional photographer, filmmaker, or whatever, when if you're doing a documentary and you have to switch from like uh, an outside area to the inside, and because you couldn't get your settings right or whatever, you missed that shot. You can't say to somebody, "Can you do that again?" It's a documentary. It's not a set. You know what I mean? You missed it. It's gone.
Yeah. Oh, I think like what sets me apart, like from the rest of the people here, is for the stuff I do, audio comes first and video comes second.
Yeah.
Because like what I'm shooting, they're mostly narratives. So like the audio needs to be like really good, because like if the video was good and the audio was bad, people are not going to watch.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch it.
But if the video was like, but the audio was good, they would actually continue watching.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people don't give importance to the audio. Like I see these big companies, they're shooting and using the camera mic.
Yeah.
And you like hear the shh.
Yeah. People in the background.
And and you barely hear, like he's speaking, you're barely hearing what the CEO is saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. At least put a shotgun mic, it would be a little better.
Yeah, just put a little Rode on the top or whatever.
Like audio is important, especially if somebody's talking.
Yeah.
And in concerts, like, okay, I shoot a concert, I need like to get the audio directly from the mixer.
Yeah, of course.
Like people don't think about that. They're like, how is your audio so good? I'm like, Sony camera. Okay, I'm getting the audio directly from the mixer. Like,
yeah.
Basically, I go to the guy on the mixer. Like, by looking at the guy who's on the mixer, if he knows what he's doing, and if you just need to like find the speaker and just jack the audio from the speaker directly.
Yeah.
Because all the speakers like run in relays, they have in and out. So I just find the one who's not, that has an empty out, plug in an XLR into my recorder, press record, and I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, like, so some advice for new filmmakers, what would you say?
Okay, some advice. Don't focus too much on the camera you're getting, because anything released in the last 5 years is good, regardless of which camera brand, what camera it is. Like nothing is bad. So focus on framing. Like framing and composition are important. Knowing your settings is important. Like if you're shooting a video, your shutter speed should be double your frame rate, like regardless.
Rule of thirds.
Panasonic people, it's easy because they just set it at 180 degrees and they're done.
Yeah.
They don't need to change any other setting. But make sure it's your shutter speed is double your frame rate. Rule of thirds, like you need to like, okay, like if my face was here, it's not a good image, like rule of thirds, this line is where the eyes should be, like if you want to frame it for video. So like, these are like general rules. You can break them, but you should break them intentionally.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah. So also, and audio is important. I would say like focus on your audio.
Yeah.
And like there are good options right now and they're not expensive.
So for me, what I would say is very similar. First, audio. All right. Even if you're using an iPhone, it doesn't matter, dude. Like, look at Sean Baker. He made Tangerine with an iPhone 5S. All right. And that movie looks great. It doesn't look like, oh, he made that with a red, but it looks nice still. Okay. And then if you look at the end of the Florida Project, the part where it's the little girl running around Disney World, he filmed that with his iPhone, whatever the new version of, I don't care because I'm not an iPhone person. Whatever the newest version of iPhone was, he filmed it with that because obviously he couldn't go in there with cameras because he didn't get permits. So he took 2 days. He brought the girls there. The first day they did the filming. The second day they did some filming. And then he said, okay, go have fun with your families or whatever. So that was all iPhone. So like, do you think if Orson Welles or whatever was alive today, he'd be like, I don't know. I'm not going to make a movie because it's with a phone. Like he'd be like, oh shit, I got a camera right here, and I can go and film anything I want at any time. It's not about the camera, all right. If you've got a deep phone, you're fine.
Like, the most important thing is the story.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know, like if your story is good and it's engaging, people will watch.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of the quality, because like we've been through SD to HD to 4K now.
Yeah.
So like quality wise, we're used to like not so good quality, and like people who pirate get like cinema recordings, you know.
Yeah.
So like quality is not as important for people as much as the story is.
Yeah.
You know, so like you can get the most expensive camera, you can get an Alexa and all these lights, you know, it's not going to make a difference if the story isn't there.
Yeah, of course. Audio, lights, then worry about your camera or whatever. If you've just got, I always tell people, like, they're like, man, I want to get a DSLR camera. What should I get? I always tell them, get whatever the budget Canon, like it's like 550, 650, whatever. For us, it was called something else. I can't remember because it's been so long since I messed with Canon.
Oh yeah, it's like the T3i2.
Yeah, exactly.
That line. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I tell people, like, you can just get the 3, which was like years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, and you can get it for super cheap. Get that. You got a good enough camera. Use the nifty 50 that it comes with or whatever. That lens is popular for a reason. Start with that. Get some good audio stuff. Get 1 or 2 like LED lights, whether it be through Amazon or AAB store or whatever the hell. And that should be good enough to get you started. Like when I started, I didn't have shit. I had the GH2 and that was it. And like 1 lens. And that's why, like, I look at some of the videos then, you can tell the audio was just booty, but I couldn't afford that stuff. So I did my best that I could. So, I mean, like, if you're a new filmmaker and you're doing stuff, and okay, the audio might not be the best, the video might not be the best, you do what you have, with what you got or whatever, fine. Nobody's going to sit there and like talk smack about you. And if they do, they probably shouldn't be doing what they're doing because they're not being supportive. Like for me, I went to a lot of different people, not just in Kuwait, but like in the States, like this paintball filmmaker, Cassidy Sanders. He made all these paintball videos for HK Army. And I was doing paintball videos for Paintball Kuwait at the time. And I'm like, man, how do you get these amazing slow-mo shots and stuff, but they look cinematic? I don't get it. Because when I film at 60 frames, it looks like home video. You know what I mean? And he was like, oh man, you film at 60 frames, but then you edit at 24. And then the slow motion will work the same, etc. I still didn't understand what he meant. So I would like edit everything and export it at 60. Then I would take that file and put it back into Premiere in a 24 frames per second timeline and then export it. Because I didn't know what I was doing, you know what I mean? One last piece of advice to social media or filmmaker, or photographer, anything.
One last piece of advice is know your worth and don't do anything for free. Exposure, there's no such thing as exposure. If they come to you, you're exposed enough.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
It's like people like try to trick you and like get things off you for free. Don't do anything for free.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Like unless it's a friend of mine and it's like just me like taking a picture of him or a video for him, it's for him, it's not for a business. That's fine.
Yeah, something that you're voluntarily doing, fine. But yeah, if somebody comes and asks you, can I get this? Or what if I'll give you a bunch of gigs in the future that'll be paying. Sure you will.
At the end of the day, like I went to B&H and looked at my cart from like when I started ordering from them to now.
Yeah.
Damn. Know your worth and don't fall into the trap of saying you'll get more exposure. Okay, if you
Yeah.
want more exposure, spend $10 on an Instagram ad. That will get you exposure.
Mhm. Exposure doesn't pay your rent, doesn't buy you food.
Yeah. So like the equipment is expensive.
If you're a filmmaker or a photographer and somebody says they want you to do something for exposure, fuck your exposure. All right. The reason they're coming to you is because they like what you do. They're just trying to get it for free. They're going to say, oh, it's, the end of pre-production on this event or show or whatever. We just don't have the budget anymore. Well, go find somebody else. Go get a film student or whatever. If you are coming to me, it's because you like what I can do. If you don't value yourself, there are times where I'll take something for fairly cheap because I need the money. It is what it is. But don't do shit for free. It's not going to help you in the long run. If you're doing it for yourself and it's a passion project, yes, go ahead and do that. Fine. You're trying to keep your skills sharp. You want to do something that you haven't been doing. Okay, go ahead. But if it's for somebody else, fuck that. Tareq's being like diplomatic about it, but I say, again, fuck your exposure. People are going to see your work anyway if you did something for a company. Your stuff is going to build up eventually and you're going to make a name for yourself. If you're an intern, but if it's something outside of that or outside of the scope of what you normally do, no thanks. Pay up or piss off.
And if the meeting starts or ends with no budget, just leave.
Yeah. See ya.
I went to a meeting and he's like, yeah. After like sitting for 30 minutes, he's like, yeah, but we don't have a budget. I just walked out and left. I'm like, when you have a budget, call me.
First thing I ask people now when they call or WhatsApp or email or whatever, I'll say, okay, what are you looking for? What do you want? What's the vibe? When do you think you want to film? How long do you think the shoot will be? What do you want for deliverables? And what's your budget? And if they can't answer that stuff because you need to know all those things, then they're not worth your time because they're trying to be slick. So if they can't tell you that stuff, one, they probably don't know what they're doing. Or if they do know what they're doing, they know that they're trying to screw you out of your money.
Never do anything for free.
So where can people find you and see your stuff?
I'm on YouTube. It's Urban Kuwait. And everywhere else, it's Urban Kuwait Films. On Twitch, it's Urban Kuwait Gaming.
Is there any upcoming thing that people should know about?
Upcoming thing for now? No. I'm sitting at home, staying safe,
Thanks, Corona.
Like I go out for work, like every once in a blue moon to shoot something.
Yeah.
And come back. But other than that, I rather stay home with my family.
Yeah.
Everything's then like even if I want to go out, like what am I going to shoot? Like I'm not really inspired to shoot anything right now, and it's too hot and humid outside. If I'm going to do something, maybe at the end of September when it cools down and I can go outdoors. It's not safe outside. For now, like I'm just like focusing on creating like content where I can do at home in my studio.
Yeah, same.
So I'm basically doing reviews of my equipment and gear and like tips. This is what I'm doing right now. But the good thing is it gives me time to plan for stuff that I want to shoot.
Yeah.
So like now I have lots of ideas that I want to implement when we can implement them.
Definitely keep an eye out for whatever you're doing, whether it be gaming or talk show or whatever it is. I definitely enjoy your stuff. I have for a while, so keep it going. You're definitely one of the unique voices coming out of Kuwait and the region in general. But for me, like when I look to Kuwait, I see two people. I see you and I see George.
It was fun.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. Yeah, you too. Take care.